All right, 6:30.
Recording in progress.
All right, now it's 6:30. We're calling select board meeting
Can
to
they need it for minutes. Is that
order.
say Smith?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
that's fine.
Yeah, to order.
Thank you.
And it is Monday, December 8th, again, 6:30. First thing we have is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any, do you need, I got extra packets. Does anyone have any issues with the agenda as written? No? All right, so can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda?
All right, can I get a second? Ricky? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approval of the minutes, we have a bunch of special select board minutes. So I'm going to run through them. November 7th, special select board meeting. In present was Ricky, Bill, Jay, Jim, Kirsten, Witt, Steve Feiner, Dick Horner. It was called to order, went to executive session, and then adjourned at 6. Is there any edits that need to be made on November 7th?
No.
No? Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I was not there. Let me go to
You had a November
next
5th one.
Yep, November 5th. Same people, Ricky, Bill, Jay, Kirsten, Witt, Steve, Dick, Horner. Same thing, opened the meeting, went to executive session, and then adjourned. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes of that meeting?
Motion to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain again because I was not there.
It was another November,
Another November,
No,
yeah.
it looks like a
Is
duplicate.
that the same one?
Uh,
The different times?
no,
One
no, that was a different one because we had a different candidate, so it was logged as two separate.
Okay, yeah, this one's at 5.
Yeah.
November 5th, special select board meeting minutes at 5. Again, it was Ricky, Bill, Jay, Jim, Kirsten, Witt, Steve, Dick. Call to order, executive session, and adjournment. Can I get a
Motion
motion to
to
accept?
accept.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain again. Let's see if I think there's more.
Yes, there is.
Special select board, I got 24 next. Is that?
Okay, well, yeah, there,
Okay, yeah, okay. So we'll do the 24th, just because I'm going in order
Okay.
here. November 24th, 2025, special select board meeting. Myself, Ricky, Bill, Jay, Jim, everyone was here. This was,
That wasn't a special one.
this was just a regular select board meeting.
Yeah.
Is there anything that needs to be edited or changed on this? I'm not seeing anything.
don't see anything.
I mean, can I get a motion to accept the meeting or the minutes as written?
Motion to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. And then we have a special for the 13th, like you said. It's Ricky, Bill, Jay, Jim, Kirsten, Witt, Steve, and Dick. Again, it is executive session only. Can I get a motion to accept the November 13th special meeting minutes?
Motion to accept.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain, I was not there, or I'm not listed. And I think there's one more for
Two more.
December, two more.
More, November 19th and December 3rd.
Yep, November 19th, Ricky, Bill, Jay, Jim, Kirsten, Witt, Steve, Dick. Call the order, executive session and adjourned. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. And now the last one, December 3rd, Bill, Jay, Jim, Kirsten, Witt, Steve, Dick. Call to order, executive session and adjourn. Okay, get,
Motion to
motion?
accept.
Yep, a second?
I have to abstain.
You have to abstain? Oh, sorry.
Second.
Second. All in, well, then I can't vote on it because Jim's not here. So we'll push that one until next time. December 3rd is going to get pushed till next time.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not listed on that, good. All right.
You need 3 people,
need
just,
three people.
you need 3 people to approve.
Yep, so we'll revisit
And Ricky wasn't here, so he's abstained.
December 3rd. Cool. All right, going into citizens' concerns. You go in the room and start over here. If anyone has comment, concerns, Deb, go ahead. And then state your name.
Oh,
Brenda.
Debbie Burke. I see that Jim Harrison has resigned,
Yeah.
and it's only a guess, but from one conversation that I had with him, he was pretty upset about the increase in taxes that the town has been subjected to now, and you know, I think when he was out and about and then people contacted him in the last few years when the taxes were going up, it was on the minds of everybody. And now it's about 41% increase in taxes. And so I know I talked to him about the budgets and how the taxes are not sustainable for the majority of the residents, not only in Killington, but in the whole state. And so when you're going over the budget, keep in mind that there are people that have retired and without ever imagining the taxes would be this much of a burden. And so when you're going over the 26, 27 budget, if you could keep that in mind, you know, it's
Absolutely.
very impactful. And something's got to be done, because what's going to happen is, in what I could see, is that the state is going to be homes that are short-term rentals. That's it. We're not going to have anybody, full-time residents, and there's going to be people that live in New Jersey and New York and Connecticut, Massachusetts, who own a second home here, and they rent it out by the week or the day or whatever, and you're not going to have people to volunteer to be select board people and volunteer firefighters, and you know, it's going to happen. It's scary.
Absolutely, and I know the board here is definitely going to be conscious of that and do our part as much as we can, though a lot of that is state level. Also with Jim Harrison retiring, I know that they're looking for the replacement, and typically what they do is from the same party, the governor makes an appointment. But if you have anyone that you think would be good, I know Jim Harrison said, you know, reach out, pass the name so he can pass it along. Because it's important to have, you know, representation that we, you know, feel is accurate to what we need. But thank you, Deb.
Yeah.
All right, come around. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rob Kowalski. It's my understanding that Great Gulf had to go back and do a complete Act 250 application, which is a slow process. And I was, you know, starting to think about it. In the event, hopefully not, but you know how we did the TIF thing with the water, and I don't understand all the peculiarities about it, or, you know, the details, but if, in your minds, is there any way, if Great Gulf got their back against the wall from the state being unreasonable, and they decided, you know what, we're going to throw the towel in, what happens to us as a town, and how much are we on the hook for? That ties in with Deb's.
Very good question, and scary question.
It's a great question.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, Rob?
Yes.
Okay, I agree with you, those documents are extremely complex, okay? And I can tell you that I have had multiple conversations at many of these meetings with Jim about that exact same issue. And Jim says we're covered, okay? I, however, coming from a corporate background, know that when documents are that big, there are undoubtedly out clauses lurking in the bushes. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful about how we proceed going forward should that happen. Okay, but we also need to take Great Gulf to task legally if that were to happen.
So, Bill, what are you doing proactively then in this situation where you come from the corporate world and you know all these outs exist? What are you doing to try to get ahead of those?
Trying to talk to Jim whenever we can, because Jim has been leading the TIF thing, and every time we talk to Jim, he protests that it is covered.
You have access to the documents,
Yes.
so you can proactively go after those nuances and loopholes?
We can
that
read
you're
through them,
concerned
yes, but
about?
we do need explanations about some of the clauses. Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Yep. Coming around the, Ron?
Ron Otino, 34 year. I don't usually speak too much at meetings. Usually sing, actually. I have to finally bring this out. It's been 20 years since this came out, and I had it in my folder at home with many other things that I've done here for 34 years with the fire department. And this was one that ended up in the paper, and I had my name involved in the article. So I was like, maybe I should re-bring this up. It's a reboot. And it's about, I want to just pass it at least, there's 3 pages here for each member here of the select board. And one is the article about the 1% tax for the local tax. On the second page, you'll see, besides the article, you'll see the breakdown of 20 years ago of how much money we would have received from the state. And 20 years ago, we would have received $738,000 approximately in 1%, with the 1%.
This is for the sales in addition to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, the sales, rooms, meals, alcohol, everybody pays, including me. And Chris Carr knows I visit his places pretty frequently. But I don't come here when I do. But, so make that note. But then the page behind it also is saying, what would we use this for? This is 20 years ago. I'm pretty sure that Dick Corner remembers all these meetings, because he was around. And, marketing the town was one suggestion we could use the money for, help defray the cost of the golf course, reduce the property taxes, and then, of course, funds for the public safety, transportation, police, fire, infrastructure, and so forth. I would say, I don't have the numbers of today's numbers of what the new sales rooms, meals, alcohol totals are 20 years later, but I would say, I'll bet you it's somewhere around 3 times this amount, out of my guess. I'm saying we're probably $2 million right now would be coming in if we still had this puppy going. And we lost for 20 years how much money that we didn't bring in. So when we argue about, and I'm not here for the fire department, but I know there's some things, we have budget problems with fire. And I wasn't brought here by the chief. I'm here as a citizen. But I want you to know that when I start seeing stuff like this and people are, this and that, about $1 million here and $500,000 there, and all, I'm looking at like probably almost $2 million that we're not bringing in by this 1%. I would gladly pay another 50 cents, 12 cents, or 13 cents. And I bring that up but in fun when I say that on an item. Here's a ticket that I saved from being on a trip to Aruba at a pool bar. It was my turn to buy. It was $25 and change for the drinks, and it was pina coladas, yada yada, Mai Tai, and then you have your state tax, $1.29. Then you had your municipal tax, 35 cents. And I asked the bartender, I said, "What's the 35 cents?" He said, "Well, that's for our police and fire and emergency services. It goes direct to them." On my mother and father's grave, that's what he called me. So this is in Aruba, okay, at the Marriott. So my point is, I think I'm making a point here, that maybe we should relook at something like this as being so shortfall on things, that maybe we should look at this, because I don't mind going, when I go to Rutland Town and they have theirs, and I pay their, I don't say, oh, 1 more percent, I'm not stopping here anymore. It's just not happening. So people come up and they pay the money and they,
I think very well said, Ron. And again, I think a lot of this 1% tax, like, yes, people in town pay it, but people from out of town that come here.
if you read that, how many tourists, there's a general idea of how many people come here to spend money.
Yeah.
And again, on my vacation, I wasn't gonna say, I'm not buying another round of drinks for another 35 cents.
Yeah.
Okay?
You had actually mentioned that when you ran.
Yep. I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah, I
So-
brought that up when I first
I
started.
just wanted to bring that back to the table, after not speaking for probably almost 20 years in this room. Not this room, other rooms.
So Rutland has an additional, I mean, I'm down there all the time, just didn't realize. So what am I paying?
I just got a
I'm
haircut
paying
today.
7?
I got a haircut today, and
You
it's
are.
on there.
Yeah, so it says 6%, you pay
Okay.
7%.
And Rutland Town's gonna pass it too.
Yeah, I can speak on that.
Sure,
That's
okay.
the former treasurer for Rutland Town.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Rutland Town has a 1% tax on it. Obviously, Rutland Town and Rutland City, Rutland Town kind of surrounds Rutland City. So a lot of the stuff that you do down at, Michael's and Hannaford's and all that kind of stuff is all Rutland Town. So when you're down there, there's an additional 1% sales tax that goes towards the town. I can't speak on how much they're making now, obviously, but at the time, the general fund was approximately $1.5 million with all the appropriations and everything that we needed to pay for. That was completely covered by the 1% tax. So that was not, the taxpayers didn't have to pay for any of that. So it was a wonderful thing that we were able to provide to the taxpayers. So it's definitely something that I would happily work with the select board on figuring out if they
I
want
think that
to.
is something that by statute has to be passed by vote.
Yes,
Yes.
Or voted down.
or voted
Or
down.
voted down, right,
Correct.
either way.
Which it was, right?
It was voted down
It was
a couple
originally
years
voted
ago.
for, then about
Yeah.
4 years later, it was voted down.
Just the
Only the
Just the
sales
Just the
tax.
sales.
Just the
Right.
sales tax portion. There's still.
There's still meal and.
Meals and
Yes.
rooms and lodging tax
Yep.
Yes.
is collected.
Thank you, Ron. I think that is something that should come up for discussion come, we're getting into voting season.
Thank you.
Good enough before town meeting, so if it needs to be on the ballot.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to be looking at the budget, and we're going to have some discussions about revenue that we need to collect.
Yep. Yep.
And I think you're gonna need more than a couple months to convince people to vote
Yes,
on the 1% tax.
yep.
Lucretia, I see your hand up?
Well, there is, so when we started the 1%, the option tax, we started tracking both the rooms and meals and the sales. So we have a spreadsheet that tracks it all. And then, of course, we did vote to repeal it. We were the only town.
Yeah.
Everybody was shocked that Killington repealed the sales tax. They thought we were out of our minds.
Yep.
And that was, of the tax, of the option taxes, that was the most lucrative. That had the most income. It was
Out of the
twice.
three?
Out of the, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, rooms, meals, and, rooms, meals, and alcohol are all one.
Yep.
And then it's just the sales.
Yeah.
But the sales was always twice of the other. So we have lost out on a lot of money. And it was all because I feel that some people didn't like the marketing of the town. So they pushed to repeal it because it was being said the town shouldn't be in marketing. So, and I have to, it by the way, it failed, it passed, that repeal passed by, I believe, 1 or 2 votes.
wow.
It's really
Yeah.
slow.
We had people voting that never voted before.
You know what year that was? Around?
Not off the top of my head. I just know it was shortly after, like you said, about 4 years.
This is '05, voted against
Yeah.
in '05, 20 years ago.
But
Oh,
it-
right,
And it
This is-
says
that's
right
what you
in
said.
there that, excuse me, it says right in that the business owners stated that they didn't want to pass it along. They didn't feel that the people would pay any more for anything, so they didn't want to pass it along. And also, somebody stated in there, that they didn't want it to come out of their bottom line. So if they didn't raise their prices,
Right.
that would come out of their bottom line, which is stated in that
If it
article.
wasn't passed on or raised, then it'd be
Yes,
bottom
it was
line.
out of their bottom line, and they voted it down, and they are a big entity in town. How's that? Thank you.
Big voting block.
Rob Kovaleski again. I just want to tie it back to where Deb started. I remember like 25, maybe 27 years ago, we voluntarily, residents, would pay into a fund. And I don't know the name of it at this point, you guys can look it up. But it kept our tax base, I think, for the school systems down before, was it Act 60?
It was a loophole that was in the law that they eliminated. It was called the Sherburne Education Fund.
There you go.
And you could voluntarily pay an extra 1% or something on
It
your.
was 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that kept it.
And not everybody paid in, but everybody benefited from it. The reason I'm bringing it up is simply this, going back to Deb's comment. I think if you wanted to do this with the 1%, I think the way you would get it approved by the people at large would be to say, if it's instituted, it doesn't just get buried in the budget, it directly goes to lower your taxes in Killington because of the school situation. That, I think, would have a lot of excitement, but just a thought.
I think you're right. Cool, thank you, great, everyone.
Just one more, I'll just finish. So, the budget I looked at this year, and I looked at the book, and apparently a couple of recent past chiefs didn't look at it too well. But I looked at stuff that was stuff taken away. So we're down from last year. And I don't know about you, but I would, if I was the chief, shoot for here and accept here. I wouldn't let it go to here and say, hey, we're okay.
Yeah.
That's me. So I don't want it to be, I want the monies that need to be collected properly to make sure that we're strong in police, fire, and EMS services, dude. And if we need to fix roads or whatever it has to go to, but we need to be strong on this budget to make sure everything's covered well without stressing anybody, without saying, we can't give you this because we have to do that now. I mean, this was a lot of money that we did not collect for a long time. That could have been sitting in a separate
capital
fund
fund,
even,
yep.
to say, hey, so you guys do need another police car, you do need another whatever, and we do have to pave that road. We're taking it out of that fund that we collected all this money from all the people who visit this town, including us. But this is not a problem to me to spend another 1% for something. That's me. So I don't know how everybody else feels, but I wanted to re-bring it up, and I think there's a lot of reading in that you can absorb, like, wow. That's
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, going to go online. Does anyone have any comments or
Patrick,
concerns?
I'd like to comment too when I can wait till after, but.
Okay, yeah, I'll come back. Anyone online have comments or concerns? What? No, G. Costanza, could you just tell us your first name, just for the record? Is there someone know here?
That's why
Oh,
I was
George.
curious.
George Costanza, that's what I was thinking,
That's where I
yeah.
was going, yeah.
So,
Sounds fishy.
Yeah, that's why.
if we don't hear, I think our policy is that we have to boot you. So, G. Costanza. Oh, they left.
Okay, goodbye.
Wow.
It's George.
Could be George, we don't know.
Cool, all right, go ahead, Joe.
So are we still working on the personnel policy?
Yes.
So my question as it relates to the policy and.
Haven't recently, but yes.
In general, it would be that, does the board feel it would be incumbent upon town officials and town officers to report violations of the personnel policy?
Sorry, say it again?
Does the board feel it's incumbent upon town officials and town officers to report violations of personnel policy if they are aware of them?
I mean, I would hope that the town officials and town people feel comfortable going to whoever is above them or the reporting body. I don't know if there's any specific clause in there that says they have to, but.
Would you say?
Other than, if I'm going from memory, other than the ethics clause, which
The
has
ethics clause in
state-mandated
there.
things,
Yeah.
I do believe that things should be reported into their appropriate department head.
Yeah.
And then from the department head up to town manager. And if town manager determines it's something that needs to go to the select board, obviously it would go to the select board, but it would normally go department head to town manager.
Yeah, is that what you're asking?
That begins the next level of my questioning. So on September 18th, there was a KPA event. And at that event, Patrick, you, Mr. Cushing, had eulogized, if you will, Mr. Atherton. And in your eulogization of Mr. Atherton, you had referenced how at times on stressful days, you would leave the office and go out to the parking lot, grab a bottle of liquor, and have a drink on town premise.
Okay.
So, to me, that's something that as the leader of the select board, the chair of the select board, it would be incumbent upon you, one, not to participate in that process, but two, to stop it, or three, report it as a violation, and I don't understand why I don't think that has happened.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't happen.
Oh, it didn't?
I didn't report anything because I didn't report it, no. So you're,
So it happened, though, the event happened, meaning that when you stood in front of the KPA and you had eulogized Mr. Atherton,
yeah.
and you had made this statement, is that inaccurate that you did not say that you would go out after hours to the parking lot to one of your cars and consume alcohol on town property?
Yeah.
That's an accurate statement?
Yeah.
Okay, so you participated with the town manager in consumption of alcohol on town property, which would be a violation of Section 11 of the Personnel Policy.
Okay.
To me, that's a disqualifying matter as it relates to any applicant for the town manager's position.
Okay, well, if you have that question, bring it to the Bill.
No, it's not a
and the
question,
board.
it's a
They're the
statement
ones
for
that are
public
handling it.
consumption,
Okay.
that if the leader of the select board is going to choose to violate policy with the town manager, I don't see how they can then follow through and properly manage our town and follow personnel policy as the leader of said town.
Okay, thank you for your input.
I have a question.
Okay, Andrew.
So I would like to say something.
Let's just make sure you introduce yourself.
Andrew Gedda.
Thank you.
Since John, you're trying to go after Patrick, how about me trying to go after Jim Half for years? Who's been who hired his own wife to be a finance director? That was freaking ridiculous. She was supposed to have a CPA. He claimed she had a CPA, and yet, when I requested the paperwork, she had no paperwork.
Thank you very much, but
Jim Half
those statements are all accurate.
did so much damage to this town, used the money
Thank you,
to
Andrew.
bribe, give money to Chad Hedgenbart, as the other selectman
Andrew.
called, they had to pay him off.
Andrew.
That's crazy.
thank
Our
you.
taxpayers' money.
So then,
Thank
And
you.
you're not asking
John,
any of these questions.
Both you guys.
so Andrew, you would agree that this would
John,
become cronyism
John.
if Patrick...
Calling to order, John, please stop.
Okay.
You asked your question, I answered your question. And thank you, Andrew, but not needed right now. So if you have no other questions, we're going to keep going on. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
I do
Any
think,
statement?
following up on Deb's comment, okay, I do think I'd like to make a motion that the town, in an apolitical fashion, send a note to Jim Harrison, thanking him for his years of service and his representation of the citizens of the town of Killington in the legislature.
All right, can I get a second on that motion?
Yeah.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Excellent. All right, moving on. Board of Liquor Control, Peggy.
That's me.
That is?
Yeah, I only have one, and it's a renewal for a first-class license for Pinnacle Spa and Lounge. A renewal, first class, and that's all.
Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor for the renewal of the clerk move forward with it? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Audit discussion, we have a lovely auditor here. Do you want to introduce
Lovely.
yourself?
I love that. I'm your lovely auditor, Ron Smith. Good to see you in this lovely place. I'm Ron Smith, independent auditor for the town of Killington. And we are knee-deep in your June 30, 2025 audit. And we're actually doing 2 audits. So we're doing the audit for the town, the independent audit that you have, and then we're doing your compliance audit for the TIF district that I've certainly heard some discussion on here tonight. So I'm very knowledgeable about that matter. All I do is government. You know, we do 2/3 of the government in the state of Maine. We do probably 1/3 of the government in the state of Vermont. I think we do 90% of all your school systems. So born and raised in St. Johnsbury. So one of the things that we were charged with is really kind of a deeper dive and certainly looking into some areas of interest. You know, I would probably say the Killington Forward, you know, which this TIF district is attached to, all the other various projects, you know, that you're attached to, and certainly 25 was I think my preliminary, you know, review so far, which is getting pretty deeper now, is that we're going to need to make some changes here at the town of Killington with how we really kind of present the accounting and really kind of untangle this common ground between these projects and delineate it, you know, between project to project and then TIF. You know, because a lot of the debt that you have is attached to projects and it's attached to TIF, you know, and some combined projects, you know, that you had as well. So that's certainly been a challenge. You know, there was a land purchase that had some tentacles to it with the various projects within town that wasn't attached to the TIF. We really don't see for lack of a better word, the birthing, you know, of it. I'm not sure that's an issue. Okay, but I'm sure what we see in 25 and 26, you know, is the fact that this town spent more than $700,000, you know, on that project. And we're not saying right or wrong, we're just presenting you math. And what we'd like to do is for June 30, 2025 is to, you know, show the math, you know, on that. Because one of the players in the relationship, you know, the payment was deferred over 2 fiscal years, 25 just being the first of 2. So, you know, really kind of separating all the math for the unique projects that you had, you know, identified in your Killington Ford and the TIF separately. And it really kind of brings me to the, you know, to the conclusion that you're going to have a V.S.A review next week, you know, and talking to Kirsten, you know, it's like, let's move this out so we can hand them something that makes a little bit more sense, you know, after we get done making some adjustments to this thing, where it's a better blueprint than what you have right now. And there's a lot of work that we've done, you know, that you're going to need to continue to do. And what we'd kind of like to do, because I think it's pretty easy, you know, to look into the crystal ball to January of 26 when that last, for lack of a better word, reconciling payment comes in, you know, for that land purchase, is to really identify and put that fund, you know, in its own category, because I feel that it's not something that's not going to disappear for a while, just because of the development of that and all that, and to completely separate it from the TIF district too, which I think was the intent, you know, of this town anyway. That's probably been the biggest thing that we've seen really right now, is really making some adjustments to your books, really making some adjustments to your chart of accounts so we can isolate this thing, and really showing you over the next month as we kind of bring this audit to a conclusion before your V.S.A deeper dive, you know, comes in, really showing you the arithmetic, you know, on the, you know, on all the projects by project and the TIF fund, you know, that you have, and putting a binder together, so if we're all not here, somebody has way better than Kirsten and I had to kind of look at this thing and look into the crystal. It has been crazy to really kind of put all this together. You got stuff just like we're trying to untangle. Was it TIF or is it not TIF? Okay, so and that's really the thing, you know, that I would say is something we'll deliver to you, is that notebook, so that if there's any question asked on what the valuation is in the grand list that represents the original assessed value and your TIF value, you've got some kind of a blueprint to go to, which is what you need to do to provide V.S.A when they come in annually to do this. And you're going to have till January 15th, you know, this year to provide them that, and that's what we really look forward to doing, is really kind of cleaning your books up would probably be the best way I can say it. Yeah, and we've already started a lot of that housekeeping with Kirsten, so.
One of the things that we've determined is that TIF is such a large thing right now. There are many projects happening within the TIF district. Each project needs to be accounted for individually so that you can really understand where the funding is coming from for each of them. And so we're trying to untangle everything and make sure that it's very clear which project is funded by what and where everything is moving. So.
And in the end, you know what you supposed, for a budget we're going to spend on these various projects. But what we're seeing, especially in '25, there was money borrowed internally, that you had. There are so many paths to financing these projects. There's a way easier way to do this for sure. And, one of the things I told Kirsten, we'll go to, I call it the South Burlington model, who just had their V.S.A review, and certainly got some praise, to what they're doing. This isn't hard, but I think it's been made hard, internally to straighten out. And that's certainly something that we're seeing here right now. Really the accounting and the math for it, for sure.
Yeah, and what we're doing right now is trying to prepare for, at the 10-year mark, we have the state come in and do a gigantic audit of this project, and we want to make sure that
they'll look like
the 10-year mark from the kickoff.
Yeah, and they'll do that look-back period, too.
And so we want to make sure that we can show them exactly what everything is, they can track everything all the way back to the beginning, and we can make sure that it is clear for them to understand.
And when we see you in January, we're going to tell you, you need some other financing instruments in place attached to these special projects, attached to this TIF. No borrowing of general fund money, no borrowing of reserves. Let's just attach its own financing to each of these projects. So.
Okay, so just to paraphrase and simplify what you're saying, Ron?
Yes.
Okay, it sounds like what you're going to do, okay, is you're going to be working with Kristen to break out individual accounts for many of the projects so that they can be properly recorded in the system, but then you'll also give Kirsten a framework going forward, okay, when new activity occurs, that we'll be able to set up the accounts for the new projects as they come on board, so that everything can be done in a consistent fashion.
And I think what you've got the resemblance of that right now, but you've got stuff that has, for lack of a better word, different flavors to it. We just want to make sure we can do two things first. TIF flavor, everything else.
TIF flavor,
that's the way it needs to be. And then everything else, hey, that's a lot of money for everything else too. So let's take the time so each one has an independent accounting of it, so that at the end of the day you can say, well, wait a minute, on this road project or that road project or whatever road project that you've got up there or infrastructure project, you can not only attach a cost to it, but as this thing starts getting bigger and bigger, which 25 really was an escalation year, that you can attach the financing it to, because you got so much financing, attached to this. And I would largely say the town's financing and town reserves accounts. And I'm not sure that would have been the way I would have done this financing for sure. So, know what you're spending, know what you're spending it on, know if it's TIF or non-TIF, know which project it goes to, and attach a financing source to the TIF, attach a financing source to the project, keep those costs separate, and there's some cleanup that needs to be certainly done there too, so.
I appreciate the work on that, because I know it's been a lot.
We got a few more weeks to do it, but Kirsten and I are certainly going to stay out in front of it. There's a few, but the goal was, and Kirsten and I thought we could stay out ahead, of the V.S.A review next week. And really, I think that they said that wasn't going to be their intent to do this deep dive.
Correct. It's the spring visit that they really do a deep dive.
Whatever the spring visit is, deep dive, you ought to be able to deliver them information that says, this is what we did, how we did it. And this is your TIF project. That's what they care about, is to hand them that blueprint, and I think that there's some work that the town needs to do. There's some work that the town needs to do that.
I've gone down a few rabbit holes with trying to track some of this stuff down, and I understand it a lot better than obviously I did when I first started.
Sometimes you gotta go chase some of those rabbits, man.
Yeah.
You gotta understand them, boy, there's a lot of rabbit holes.
Yeah, but there are a lot of different contracts and a lot of different moving parts, and it's just, Ron's on speed dial right now.
And the debt that you take, it's attached to any project. So it's like, okay, we've got this project, we're gonna borrow down on this debt, okay? But, well, wait a minute. We've
Yeah.
already borrowed all that debt, man. We got more projects. What's going on? So, and that's really the
It
math
needs to
I'm
be
talking about.
project-specific. It cannot just
Okay.
be one giant pool of money that we're pulling down from. We need to have something specifically for this contract and this contract and this contract so that we can track
And if
that.
you in Killington
Which Abby
said.
did start
Yeah,
before
and
she
if you in
left.
Killington said, we're going to pay for a percentage of this project, because that's what the TIF mandated that you do, match some kind of an infrastructure, one of these projects, you got your own money to do that. You got the reserves, I think is what it mentions there too. But I would definitely set up two separate financing sources, because it's all one right now, and it is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you guys made it too complicated for sure.
Okay, cool, thank you. Do you guys have questions on that or for the auditor? Nothing?
I'll
Excellent.
be back in January before the
Yes.
15th or 16th.
Yeah, I think you said the 5th.
To
We were
go
gonna be
5th,
coming on the
yeah,
5th,
we'll be
yep.
back the 5th. We'll be back that first week in
Yep.
January.
Does anyone else have questions for our, because I know this is one of the bigger things in town, is TIF, so I want to give the opportunity.
It's a big
Okay.
investment.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Ron, will these audits, will they delve into any payroll issues, discrepancies, vacation time allocations, things like that?
All depends on what the magnitude of the dollar value is. We got something called materiality, okay? So, and that materiality defines what's important for us to look at, okay? That's something that we'll sample, this compliance supplement that we use to monitor the TIF, we'll sample that, but our
What's the
level.
threshold for material?
I'd have to look and see what it is, because it would be unique to that fund, but that's something, just because we don't do it, because it's part of ours, V.S.A may say, hey, you know what, we want to take a deeper dive. They certainly have the ability to do that as well, but we certainly will look at, and that's why it's easy for me to sit here and kind of say, hey, you're going to need to make some edits to your books, for sure.
Well, and that's materiality that you use every single year for your audits.
Well, but it changes by the math.
Yes.
So the bigger the fund gets, the bigger the money, the bigger the outlay.
Right.
Okay? The bigger the number is. So if you've got a $5,000 or a $10,000 payroll cost, that's something that certainly falls way below, our materiality, way below what we would call an individually significant item, important.
Right.
When you're spending $1 million, $2 million, $3 million on the
Right.
infrastructure, that's where the focus is going to be on those contracts, for sure. And that's what the supplement
And
says.
so your audit is specific to the contracts, it's not to balance sheet of the town, I guess? is
No,
what-
well, no, it'll be specific to the balance sheet of the account, where the money came from,
Yeah, it's the whole-
certainly to
they
pay
have
for it.
access to everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, we see it
And
both.
did you have a question?
So,
Oh,
so is there a way to contact you directly, or we need to do it through Kirsten?
You have to go through the town. Yeah.
Got it. Because in the past, I've requested under Freedom of Information all the paperwork for specific sections.
Yeah.
And when I got the paperwork, there were things missing.
Yeah.
And I brought this multiple times to the previous town manager.
Yeah.
And we were digging deeper. The money, like, for just an example, Anthony Way section, there were, the finance director could not provide me with invoices from Green Mountain Power for that project, for relocating
Yeah.
and putting the new poles.
So those would be things we'd look at, for sure.
Yeah, so obviously, that's just one of those examples
Yeah.
that I
And
would
what-
love to bring up.
What we'll
and see the
do,
results.
may I suggest, January 5th-ish, okay, before V.S.A comes, town audit should be concluded, with reconcilements and, and some of the recommendations that we're going to be more than happy to hop in a room and go over that, both audits, the town audit and the TIF district audit, the monitoring.
Jason?
So, yeah, I kind of want to try to clarify what I think John is getting at was, at the time of we did the things before the election, the candidates had the form, and there was mention of a forensic audit. And I believe I used that term, and I probably used it improperly. And I'm sorry for that. I did not know. I guess I didn't do enough digging to understand what a forensic audit was. Since then, I've been told, not by you, by other sources, that typically, when you do a forensic audit, it is targeted at a individual or individuals, not like a whole, not the whole town employees as a whole. So a forensic audit would deal with, you would basically be going after this person or that person. So how you do a audit just into the vacation time and stuff, I don't know. I'm not a...
Well, if there's specific concerns, certainly we can take a deeper dive into that. But a forensic audit, you want to be careful. I mean, that's something I would want to certainly understand a little bit more on. And here's the best way I can say for a forensic audit. You're attaching yourself to math. That's what forensic is. You are forensically calculating math, which attaches itself to an individual, which attaches itself to a vendor. That's what it attaches to. So, I mean, if there's some, for lack of a better word, concerns, beyond, the math or bad math or whatever the math is, if some of that comes up and we see cost, that like, what's this for? Okay, I've already said it. What's this got to do with the TIF district? Okay, so, but that math for an individual would be so minuscule compared to the bigger math with the infrastructure projects, which is what the supplement forces you on, to look at. So it might even not hit a sample size, so.
So again, I want to apologize if I misused the term, if I didn't understand at that time exactly what that was about. So I just want to say, if I spoke out of turn, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't apologize to me, I'm good.
I wanted to direct a comment at you, too. I know there have been some comments about vacation time misuse and things of that nature. I'm in the process of putting together, of working with a new payroll company, which is going to make it much easier to track that kind of thing.
We are going to move to a payroll?
We are moving to a payroll company. Yes, so it will have much better tracking, and we'll be able to pull full reports of things, so we can see if things are changed, who has been attached to it. There's going to be much greater oversight by department heads and by the town manager in that regard, and myself. And so moving forward, we'll have a much better way of tracking the payroll.
But
Are you looking back for irregularities, inconsistencies?
That would be something that I'd relay to Ron. We're discussing to see if there are any inconsistencies with anything, and if there are, he's bringing them to my attention. And we'll obviously have to fix anything if we find anything.
Yeah, but that's a pretty, one, I'm a certified fraud examiner, so I can go down through all the intricacies of it. The last thing you want is a character assassination, so let's be very careful, and Kirsten and I are being very sensitive to what we have to look at,
Right.
Whether or not anything rises to that level.
Unless you see it. You don't want,
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Names out of it. This is about assassination. It's about right, wrong, and
Yeah.
the use of
Yes.
public
It's okay,
tax
Jim.
dollars.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we're putting the parameters into place that we are. is to
But
make
if you
sure
went,
that we are
but if you
taking care of
went and
tax
you keep
dollars.
going down that path of forensic, it attaches itself
It
to an
does.
individual
Yes.
and contracts, and that's where I try to be very sensitive to, and really not knowing a lot, more than happy to get through this exercise and certainly focus on anything that would
Yes.
rise to that
I
level.
think Jim had a question for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, but I did say I was gonna be
Yeah,
late.
yeah, no,
or
you're
whatever. I
all
had
good.
something to do with family, and I
Family
got over
comes
here,
first.
whatever. I didn't really understand the warning up until this morning, when I met up with Ron and Kirsten and Patrick about audit discussion. I didn't think wherever you guys are in right now or whatever, but, can you just back up 5 minutes? So what I understand is what was been said for this vacation time or what?
It wasn't, that was
It
a question
wasn't,
from Jim.
no, that was,
Okay. And
No.
So
then-
the
the
nothing to do
audit-
with that conversation.
Okay,
No, no.
I just, because I heard something
No,
to that. I
what
was
we,
just
what we
like,
discussed
I was
was
like,
the stuff that
okay.
we talked about today, about the separating out the TIF, and
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I get that, and
Yep.
it's just
That's
like,
all.
and I mean, I think this is nothing new to me, it's like, we did have a town manager, and I'm not saying names, but we had a couple or whatever that didn't understand TIF or whatever, and made some borrowings and put into it, but you'll watch.
We discussed that before.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I want to make sure, I guess, once again, sorry.
Yeah.
But then, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Jay, like, what were you apologizing for?
I was apologizing because when we had the selectmen forums, when
Candidate forums, yeah.
candidate forums, the term had come up, forensic audit. I believe brought up forensic audit.
Okay.
I apologize for that, not knowing what the hell I was talking about when I said that. Since then, I gained a little more knowledge about that. And I apologized if I misspoke at that time.
Yep. And
Okay, but I'm gonna, so like, and this is open meeting or whatever, but also in that, has nothing to do with you, Ron.
If it's got nothing to do with me, I got a long day tomorrow and a long day
Yep.
after
Long
that.
day.
I would love to
Yep.
leave.
And you had
And
a
I
long-
look forward to coming and talking to
You had a
everybody
long,
here.
you had a
too.
long day today.
I know, you're
Right.
He's been
Yeah.
working here
But
all
I was
day.
gonna say, but also in that.
Any other
forum,
questions of me?
You had
No,
said
I mean,
that there was.
hold on one sec. Is there any questions for Ron, or can he get out of here?
I don't know, I mean.
All right, yeah, you're good
I'll
to
see you in
go.
January, though.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like also one of the things that, as a board member that was on the prior board, on prior boards, because there was Finneran, there was Claffey, there was Rob Hecker, there was Chris Carr. You know, there was also saying, I think also in that meeting, and it's recorded somewhere, like, you know, you're tired of the lies and the, what was the other? And there was another word of almost making it sound like there was illegal things done by the boards. And I took that, so like, the reason why you ran was because of you're tired of the lies, and there was one other word, but you apologized for the forensic part.
I'm not apologizing for the lies.
Okay, okay.
All right, I don't think this is
So, no,
about,
no, I just-
I don't think this
no, no.
is about audit. If you want, we can do
No, no, but
this
so
on
anyway,
selectmen comments and
but the
concerns.
forensic audit, it just blows my mind away that someone would run on a platform.
Jim,
And
this is
I'll
not,
bring it
you
up
can
in
do
this
it
since
later then, because right now this is audit, and that doesn't have to do with
Oh.
audit.
Yes.
That has to do with,
Well, then I guess the apology
Why
should have been
people-
there, too.
Go ahead.
This is related to audit, I think.
Thank you.
Several months ago, Ricky brought up the fact that I think as you were examining the budget and some of the spending, there was something about a $50,000 weather station perhaps on the Sherburne Pass.
I don't know
Did
where
we
it was.
conclude that that was above board and there were no issues, or it never happened?
Yeah, no one ever really fessed up to where it came from, I think.
Right.
But I
It
think,
never got
I think
implemented.
Dave figured out where it came
Okay.
from, and an individual said, oh, we can get by with just a cheap camera or something,
Okay.
so.
yes,
But just-
that did not happen.
But this discussion is what
Yeah.
Very good,
surfaced
very
in
good.
my mind.
All right, so we're moving on to budget meeting scheduling. We have budgets coming up, and typically, I guess it's been done during special select board meetings, because they can be, I mean, they're their own meetings in themselves.
A lot of them are put in regular Monday night meetings.
Yeah,
It's
so,
just that when you get to too late, then, like, here we are with the middle of December, and what is the
Right.
deadline for
what,
the vote?
what is the deadline that we needed it by, do you know?
Well, the statute says that we have to post the warning on the 22nd of January.
January, okay.
And
So
then,
the idea would be to put 2 special select board meetings, and then so it's talking about when we can do that. Currently, we have 1 special select board meeting on the 15th for the zoning bylaws and all that continuation. We can bump it to have this take precedent, or we can put it in different days of the week, or so just kind of open up the discussion for when should we have these 2 meetings in the next month and a half.
I think we should bump the zoning bylaws one. I mean, this time of year, people have stuff going on and stuff. I think it's,
Now it's more of a public.
yeah,
Okay.
that's my opinion anyways. And
I want to get back to, you have to have it by when, and by having it by the 22nd or whatever, I think you're saying.
The
of town.
warning needs to be posted the 22nd.
And then the warning you need to have, and then it's the print, and then how long is the print? So the
The-
22nd isn't the last, it's the,
Well, we have to get it
realistic.
to the publisher by the 29th in order to get back by February 2nd for the draft,
Okay.
so that we can approve the draft for the town report, and then we can get the town report out in
so
time.
I just like to have it, and like I've had a long day today and a lot of driving or something.
Hmm.
Just to kind
Just keep in mind, it also takes a fair amount of time to organize it into the town report.
Yeah.
So even though that's the deadline, you gotta have it earlier
Yes.
than
But I
that.
gotta find the deadline, and then they have to
Yes,
backtrack
because
by what you're
the other
saying.
thing you'll want to keep in mind too is that if we have the special select board meeting and you want a specific department head to revise something, then you're going to need to meet again in order to go over that revision. So you can give yourself
Could I
time.
make a motion?
Go ahead.
Make a motion that we,
You want to talk about first?
No, I'll make the motion, and then.
yeah, could I make a motion that we not do the zoning meeting on the 15th and that we do a budget meeting on the 15th. Can I also make a motion that we spend the majority of our time on the 22nd associated with budget? Okay, and then we have a follow-up meeting on January 5th, okay, which basically attempts to wrap it up. And if we haven't wrapped it up by the 5th, we'll have to make another decision at that point.
So we can have discussion.
Yeah.
So right now, you're saying special select board on the 15th, regular on the 22nd, that's
But
dedicated.
concentrate, dedicated to the budget.
Yep. And then special on the 5th, if needed?
If need,
Well,
well,
we're probably gonna be
I'm just
needed.
saying, we probably should have a special on the 5th, okay, to wrap the budget up.
Yep.
Okay, that would be the intent, okay, and, you know, I don't know what Kristen's holiday schedule is, so am I interrupting your holidays?
All of that is fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Wednesdays are the
Because I'm
problem.
looking at
I'm
the
fine with
calendar, and we're
Mondays.
running out of time.
Yeah.
And the 15th is the first day of Hanukkah. I don't celebrate it, but I'm just throwing it out there because I look at my calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see what, so, just to be.
So that may be,
Could I also suggest that these meetings get lengthy, and sometimes the select board's been known to start these at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon? The special meetings?
Yeah.
What time do we want to start it? 4's.
I think that's a good discussion point, yeah.
Well, the motion on the.
The motion is to have the
Okay, so
meeting.
motion's on the, let's do the motions on the dates.
The motion's on the dates.
What do you think about the dates?
Fine with me.
Good. You second, yeah. Okay, so do you want to, we'll call the question on that. So, motion on the floor is to have the 15th change to a budget special meeting, and we'll get with zoning and planning to, or planning. We'll get with planning to reschedule that one.
Hopefully you get to them like right away because that is a warned.
Yeah, they have to.
I will tell them tomorrow.
Okay. So change the 15th to budget, the 22nd, it's a normal meeting, but have it focus on the budget. And then the 5th, which would be 2 weeks after the 22nd. And that would be a follow-up on the budget as well. And then if we need to, I hope we don't, but if we need to do more,
That
we'll
gives us
address
a
it at
couple
that
weeks
time.
buffer.
Yep. Yeah, that gives us about two and a half.
Is there a deadline here for the department heads to have their budgets?
their budgets have already been brought to me, their draft budgets. So I put those all together for the board to review. I can get those back out to you again. I think they were 2 meetings ago. I think I had those in the packet. But I can
We'll get them
resend
back
those
out.
to you all. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, but so,
Yeah.
quite a bit of stuff was missing
Yes.
from those.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, there were a few that were blank because I wanted you to weigh in on it. There's certain.
We'll be prepared by the 15th and the
Yep,
1st.
yeah. There's a couple of things, like specifically the select board's financials. I didn't want to
Yeah,
say
we'll-
anything about what
we'll
you
address
guys
that.
want to do for
Yeah.
that. We need to talk about appropriations to make sure that you're still on board with all the appropriations, or if we
Yeah.
have anybody coming in to change anything. I hadn't done anything
No,
with
that's
that. But we should be, yeah.
Okay, so all in favor of those 3 dates, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make a motion that for the December 15th meeting and the December 22nd meeting, we start at a time, and I'm asking you guys what works best. 4:30, 5 o'clock?
I mean, do you get?
How long do they generally go? That's my question.
Well, like as Dick said, these things.
3 to
can
4
go on
hours,
up to 4
Yeah, it
hours.
could be 4 hours.
So if we start, and Dick is right, if we start at 6:30, you're looking at 9:30, 10 o'clock. But if we start at 5:30, you might be looking at 8:30 instead of, and it could be quicker, so.
I mean, I'd be looking for like between 5:30, but we can do 4 if, I know what you,
From 5:30 would work good for me.
okay. 5:30?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm fine
Asking
with
the rest
whatever.
of you guys.
Is that, how'd you word the motion?
I said make a motion for us to come up with, so now I.
Okay, yeah.
Now I'm going to slip in 5:30 for
Okay.
the 15th and the 22nd and the 5th at 5:30.
So all 3 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor of making those times, or those dates, we'll meet at 5:30?
Needs a second.
Oh, can we get a second?
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor of those being at 5:30, say aye. Aye. Excellent. Warrant review, there are a few to sign, including the one that had the, there's a large one that had the school, one of the school payouts. And that brings us to second round citizens' comments and concerns. Going to start online. Anyone online have questions? Mom? No? Jerry? Holly? No? Hearing none, going to go back into the room. Does anyone in the room have questions or concerns? All right, seeing none, we're going to, yes, John?
I'd like to come back to the town manager's hiring process if I could. So during the last meeting, I had asked the question, and I think it maybe was misunderstood. You were nice enough to reply with a text the following day, Patrick, where I had asked when you had initially inquired about the town manager's position, and you had replied back to me that it was on October 17th. So are you saying that at no time prior to that, you put yourself out there as a candidate for the position before it was publicly made available and posted?
I can't put in for it until it's posted.
Did you present yourself as a candidate in advance of the job posting, Patrick?
No.
No?
Not to me.
No.
No.
Can all the board members affirm that Mr. Cushing did not put himself out there as a candidate for the job in advance of the job posting?
You know, you're getting into stuff that should be discussed in
Yeah.
executive session and should not be discussed in a public meeting. You're getting into personnel issues.
No, because I'm asking about something that would have happened in advance of any personnel issues, so therefore, I don't believe
I
that's
did not
relevant.
apply for any job before a job was posted.
You did not put yourself forth as a candidate.
I did not apply for any job before a job was posted.
Did you put yourself forth as a candidate before
John,
the
I've
job
answered your
was
question.
posted? No, you're not really. You're working around it, is what you're doing.
I think he's answered the question, and then you're asking the board members, so let's just move on.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm not going to answer the question.
Okay.
That's how I'm answering it, guys. I don't know how you're.
Yeah, I'm not aware that you did.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where John is coming from, questions or whatever, but I also have to sit here and say that I am a select board for the town of Killington, and I am here for the best interests of protecting the town of Killington still, no matter what I've been through, but I would need to get, you can smirk there, Jeff, but I will wait for legal advice if we want to take it from there.
So it would be in the best interest of the town not to answer?
No, it's in the best interest of me.
Oh, okay.
He's answered.
But Bill, you said he did not, he did not.
As I said, I'm not aware. Okay, there was, at that period after Dave passed away, we were in the process of bringing Dick in, and Dick was in the process of putting the notifications, okay, to hire for that position. Okay, so I'm not aware that Patrick asserted himself as desiring that position before any of that stuff was completed.
I did not receive any applications prior to the notice being in the papers.
All right. So, select board members' comments and concerns.
I'm just going to move on and forget what I'm going to say.
Okay. Comments, concerns?
I'm going to leave it, yeah, I'll leave it alone right now.
Excellent. All right. Cool. Yeah, I don't think I have anything either. Manager's report.
Well, I was going to get you all to schedule some meetings, and you did that, so that's one of the big items there. Mona will be happy. I have received a number of complaints about the road striping, and I explained to them that it was no fault of the town's, and that I did, and I also contacted the VLCT, and that we do have no liability as the town if, we didn't. Because we didn't do it because there were other circumstances that didn't allow us to get it done. Also researched, that's it for that. And then just some basic kind of insurance stuff, working on the deductibles with Kirsten as to where those should be at. Discuss the payroll service with her, and I think that's an excellent idea. It'll free up a lot of time and a lot of resources. And it'll also add a lot more accountability and easier, I think, for department managers to keep track of their employees' vacation time. All those different issues that managers deal with will now be easily accessible and then be right there. So then the town office is, the vault is being moved, or just deconstructed in River Road on the 15th. I'm not sure how long that process will take. I think probably a couple days. 4 days. 4 days.
Just for the vault.
Just for the vault. And then Todd Transportation is coming on the 18th to move all of the furniture and whatnot. I do understand that the office will be complete in a timely manner. Ken Wanzer has been doing an excellent job.
Yes, thank you, Ken,
Running that
staying on top of that.
program and keeping them on schedule. He's been a very tough taskmaster with them and has really kept them in line and getting things done. And he's also going to work with getting some lighting for the new office parking lot. It's very dark back there right now. So we are looking at different situations as to where the conduits and different, how we're going to do the lighting, and also we're going to have to figure out the striping and handicap parking, because that is a horribly designed parking lot back there, as you all know. There is no convenient close parking to the building or to the ramp. So something's going to have to be looked at to figure that out. So that'll be a springtime project. So everything else seems to be moving along. I think we're doing well. Everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I would like to revisit John's comments for a second.
Sure.
John, I did look up, because I do have some of the candidate resumes here, and you're correct, Patrick did submit his application on October 17th. Okay, I do have actually the second candidate we interviewed filed his application on October 9th, okay, well before Patrick. Okay, I mean, I could go through and identify when all of the applications came in, but I just have that for my notes right here. So, yeah, everything was taking place, well in advance and after the jobs were posted.
Yeah, not really my question, but that's fine. You can.
Well, you asked the question, so.
That's actually not what I asked for the question. But that's fine, Bill. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
We have that item that we couldn't vote on because Jim wasn't here.
We have one item that we need your vote on. On December 3rd, so we're going back to the special meeting. Ricky wasn't there.
Minutes?
Yeah. So it's.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes of the special select board meeting minutes, December 3rd, 2025. All it was an executive session for personnel and contracts. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, and I abstained also.
It was really not abstain, you weren't there.
You weren't there. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, with that, going to go executive session for personnel.
Yes.
And it is, these 4 selectmen, is Dick coming in?
Dick is invited in, yes.
Anyone else coming in?
I think just Dick is.
Just Dick.
is
All
on.
right, it's going to be those selectmen. Dick.
I'm going to make
Go
a
ahead.
motion to go into executive session for personnel and contracts, the employment for evaluation of a public officer or employee, provided that a public body must make the final hiring or appointment decision and explain its reason for the decision in an open meeting, 1 V.S.A. 313A3, to include the town manager. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Separate, quick question.
Yes.
East Mountain Road.
Yes.
I noticed last night around 5:15, it started to snow fairly heavily, and the roads were slippery. I'm not going to kid you. I came out of Bear Mountain Road, but when I got past Trailview and before Roundabout,
Yeah.
traffic coming toward Bear Mountain, like on the downhill side, there was a fairly large SUV in that gigantic ditch on, obviously, the right-hand side of the road. Is there anything we should consider doing to maybe post a few signs? I mean, there's no guardrail there. I know that. We're not going to install one. But you've got so many people from out of town that sometimes think they can go like crazy, and then all of a sudden you hit the brakes and they're in the ditch. Because last evening when I was coming back toward Bear Mountain, okay, there were 3 cars behind me and a silver truck, a pickup, passed those 3 cars, then passed me, and I could have had 2 or 3 more behind me. The guy must have been doing close to 80 miles an hour, and I thought the guy was going to kill himself, but it just kept going. I'm presuming he may have been local, but I don't know.
Well,
Any-
I was driving up from Skyship around that 5-something or whatever, and just below Mosier's driveway.
Yes.
There was a car in the ditch there. There wasn't much snow on the ground.
Okay.
It was dusting. It was around 5:15.
P.S.
And then going up
Yeah.
further, there were the flares out because for the other one that you're talking about.
Right.
But you know the road well better than any of us or whatever on East Mountain Road. There are speed signs that go through there.
Well, I know there's speed
There are
signs.
also things that show some of the turns, I believe, in areas. And I don't know what else you
And
can
also
do.
signs that say
Well, let me give a-
tires and chains are required.
No, that's going up Bear Mountain Road. It doesn't say it on East Mountain Road, so it
Let me
doesn't.
praise the town.
One at the bottom.
Okay, because as soon as I got past that accident, there were 3 plow trucks that had cleaned the road down to the bare pavement,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a timing issue. Too bad this person was where they were
It was a
before the
squall-
road
it was a
had plowed.
squall.
Squall came.
But I'm just thinking, maybe you put a few slippery, watch, ditch, something. I don't know if there's a liability for saying that.
We can look into it. I don't know if we have any signs laying around, and then I don't know the
Yeah, all
cost
right.
of that, but.
But
we'll
then I also think
look
you
at
get
it.
into, you need to do something with verifying with, just ask Lisa or whatever for the signs, because then, like, you
Gonna
got
need
a
to be
thing,
beat on it.
it's, we have 3 traffic lights that are up and down the Killington Road that used to be there. It's in our ordinance, it's right on our town website, but now you'll get VHB that says that the sign, that the traffic lights don't belong there, so someone has to do some kind
Yeah,
of,
You're saying traffic study
the
kind of
traffic,
thing.
the study to see if you're gonna put more signs up, and
Yeah.
then the next thing is you put all these signs up, and there's signs every frickin' 15 to 20 feet. Someone goes off the road, and then they hit the sign.
Makes it harder to plow too.
It makes it hard.
Do they really, the signs?
Yeah, because they're in the
When
way.
you back and stuff, you have to go around and
It's a dark road, and it's just like, how many more
trying to be-
signs do they put up?
Thank you.
A warning, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think you guys are gonna go into executive session.